Right.
Hi, welcome to East Coast Moms Unfiltered. My name is Donna, and this is my host.
I am Nick, and today we were sitting down with Lori. She is an award winning author. She is a motivational speaker. She is right here out of Kingston, Pennsylvania. She has an amazing story. She is a Jewish birth mother, a suicide survivor, a domestic violence survivor. She also went through a very serious health journey after almost losing her life in 2020. So we are so grateful, Lori, that you are here today to tell your story. And thank you so much for entrusting us with your amazing story.
Thank you so much for having me. When I saw you when I s the call on TikTok, I was just something told me that I needed to reach out, so I'm
Oh,
very honored that
thank
you
you.
that
I
that we
appreciate
were
it.
able to speak.
Thank you for using our platform. We truly appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. There's a lot to unpack. I mean, it's so I don't really know where to start, but I'll start with when I was growing up in Kingston, PA. It's a very small town in northeastern Pennsylvania. I grew up in an Orthodox home, Jewish Orthodox home. Went to a Jewish Orthodox elementary school and was bullied most of my life. Tried to commit suicide twice in elementary school.
Gosh.
Um, and no matter what I did, I was just the outcast. I was the theater kid, I was dance kid, so that made me different in their eyes to begin with. Um, and it took a lot, even through high school. High school was not great either. Um, yeah. So it's I am I am all about like anti-bullying everything because I know what it's like. I know what it feels like. I know what it's like to be different. I had a learning disability that wasn't diagnosed until my second year of college or my first or second year of college.
Well,
I was just told I was stupid all of my life. But come to find out, I wasn't. And my mother knew I wasn't, but she would get called into the principal's office almost on a weekly basis. And, she would say, "She's not there's something," this is gonna make me sound so old, but back then, uh, learning disabilities weren't what they are today.
sure.
So that's where my journey started very young, unfortunately. I mean, I can remember all the way back to nursery and kindergarten being bullied.
Wow.
So, um,
Lot.
yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot, and when I hear and see not only kids, I see adults too, but when I hear them, it breaks my heart because I can relate so much to them, and all I wanna do is just say, "It will get better." Like, just it will get better, it's going to take a fight, but it will get better. So, you know, it's hard in that respect.
But it makes you stronger. Like, my daughter was bullied a lot. I didn't tell you this, but my daughter is biracial, and so they were bullied in elementary school because of the color of her skin, her hair,
Water
her this
too?
and she was called everything under the sun, and we obviously we would sit down and we would talk with her, and we're like, "We're here to help you, but we want to see what you can do, and if you can't do it, then mom and dad will step in," and we've had to step in a few times, and we were like, "Listen, we're not playing this game," and we made it very well clear that we were not playing that game, and they're like, "Okay."
Yes, well, thank you for being an advocate for your
Yeah.
child. I mean, there are so many that don't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. My daughter is also so I have 2 daughters, one that I parented, one that I placed for adoption, and she is also my youngest is also biracial, and she was also bullied for being biracial, and it's terrible, and we pulled her out of quite a few schools, and we did what we needed to do,
Yeah.
to keep her safe. I don't know if it worked or it didn't work, but, it's hard, so I understand that.
How old is your daughter?
So the youngest is 28 and the oldest is 29, almost 30. So, yeah. So, and that kind of takes me into the next part of my journey.
Yeah.
So I moved to New York City just after high school, went to FIT, met someone who I was with for 4 years, and we ended up breaking up, not realizing at the time how emotionally abusive he was. He wasn't so much physically abusive, but he was definitely emotionally and mentally abusive, and I didn't even realize that until many, many years later. Um, and so when that happened, though, started to do I started to party. We'll just put it that way. I started to party, I drank, I was out every night, anything and everything to keep myself from thinking about it. So I was not making the best decisions that I could in my life and found myself in a position where I found myself pregnant and didn't know who the father was. So, my parents didn't know. Well, come to find out much later, they did know, but I didn't know that at the time. I felt as if I needed to hide, hide the pregnancy, hide myself. So I ended up leaving PA, moved to Florida. I had a job, thank goodness. So everybody just assumed that I moved for a job, and that's what I told everybody. Moved to Florida and realized that I was not in the best of mental health. I didn't know what to do. I knew that I couldn't take care of myself. I was really struggling. I was really struggling. Did and continued to do things that I probably shouldn't have when I was pregnant. I didn't drink. I didn't but I did put myself in harm's way, I think sometimes physically, more so than anything else, just to keep my brain, for lack of a better word, keep my brain occupied.
Yeah.
Things that
Yeah.
didn't matter.
Yeah. I think that's just a coping mechanism, regardless of what it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. So, realize I don't really remember 5 months in, maybe 6 months, I don't really remember. Knew that I couldn't take care of myself and wasn't taking care of myself, and knew that I had a baby coming, and I knew that I couldn't take care of her physically. Financially, I could wasn't the issue. It was more it was physical and emotionally. I had actually gone to an abortion clinic, and I was ready to have an abortion, and I walked in, started filling out the paperwork, and I literally threw the pen down and said, "I can't do this." And
Mhm.
I am a firm believer in being pro-choice. I feel that every woman has the right to do whatever it is. It is their body, but for whatever reason, I just couldn't do it. Which was ultimately why I left Pennsylvania, because in the Jewish community, especially the Orthodox Jewish community, that was a big no-no.
Mhm. Yeah. Of course.
That was a big no-no. So, I didn't want to embarrass my family. I didn't want to embarrass my friends. I didn't, it was all about embarrassment about everybody else except myself,
Right.
you know? So I picked up and I left.
When you left, did you keep in touch with your parents?
Yeah, I mean, they knew where I was. I talked to them all the time, but they had no idea what I was going through.
Okay.
Do you think that had you told your mom and dad that you were pregnant outside of marriage, do you think they would have, obviously we know they would have been mad, as every parent would be, but do you think that they would have come to terms and accepted and like, okay, we're gonna take you and the baby in, or we're gonna make sure that you're okay?
Yeah, I do, but the one thing that sticks in my head even to this day, my mom passed away in 2009, and one of the last things she says to me was, "You gave away my grandchild."
I did. Yes, that was heartbreaking. I read that in the book and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, and that's something that has stuck with me, to this day.
Sure.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky in that respect because my dad did get to meet April.
Mhm. Okay.
So they did have, a relationship. They did visit. They would speak every now and again, but my dad, still remember the very first time that April FaceTimed with everybody.
Mhm.
My dad just kept looking at her because she very much favors me. And I favor my dad.
Ah, okay.
I definitely favor my dad. I look like my dad. And he just kept looking at her, and I just kept saying, "Yeah, the Prashker genes are very prominent here."
Well,
So,
that has to make up for the fact that your mom didn't get to meet her, you know?
yeah, yeah, it's hard. It again, as I say, it's still something that kind of is in the back of my brain all the time.
Yeah,
But I made the best decisions that I could at that time. I
Yeah.
didn't, you know, right or wrong, those were the decisions I made, and, I wanted to be sure that, it her na that she my oldest had a chance.
of course.
So that was my biggest, at least I was able to do that,
Right.
Did I get it right? I guess I did, I mean, I question it all the time. But she was raised well, she's loved, and that's all I can ask for. Um,
Wow.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
So I decided to place her for adoption, and I literally so this is gonna also make me date me. There was no Google. Google did not come into an existence until, I believe, 1998, something to that effect. So I literally opened up, now wait for it, the Yellow Pages.
They're like, "What is that?"
Exactly. And I opened it up to adoption attorneys, found the biggest ad, and called it.
Wow. Back then, what would you do?
I had no anything. I didn't know anybody. I couldn't talk to anybody. There were message boards, very, very bad message boards, but there were message boards. But I didn't do any of that. So what, and I was embarrassed, and B, I sat there and went, okay, I how do I know like which what like who is this person?
Mhm.
Are they gonna do right? And I figured, biggest bad, biggest, you know, realm of expertise. I don't know. And yeah, this is where it kind of gets a little iffy where I have to be careful what I say. But there was definitely some things that happened during the pregnancy that really were not so ethical, in my opinion. And this is truly my opinion. Um, there was a point where, so again, dating me, I was watching Oprah one night or one afternoon, and she had, a bunch of different comedians on, and it was supposed to be funny, and they were just discussing what your mother didn't tell you about being pregnant. Instead of me laughing and "Ha, ha, ha," and I was crying. I was crying, I couldn't breathe. Come to find out I was having an anxiety attack and a panic attack, which also didn't know at the time, and I didn't know what to do. I felt so lost and alone and didn't really know what to do, so I reached out to the, adoptive parents who I had met and chosen, and they're great people. Please don't, I think very highly of the 2 of them,
Good.
but at the time, I called and said, "Hey, I need something from you, like, I don't know, I here's what's going on," and th they returned my call with, "I'm sorry, I don't have time at the moment." And so I proceeded to call the attorney and said, "I am not placing my child with them."
Wow.
Well, within 20 to 30 minutes, I think she was a paralegal. I'm pretty sure she was a paralegal, was at my door at my apartment saying, "Pack a bag, you're coming with me for the weekend." So, I mean, they kept me occupied from the time I got in that car till the time I came home, and really it was a well orchestrated plan
What?
because they knew exactly what to do. They kept me busy. They took me places I couldn't afford things, so they were buying me things. We went to dinner, we went to the movies, we did all the things, and by the time I got back on Sunday night to go to work, I said, "Okay, I'll just let it go." And they knew. They knew
Mhm.
exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I talk about more in the book than what I have right now. So, it's that was one of the hardest things for me. And then so when I gave birth to my oldest, I was alone. The moment that I gave birth, every support system that I had was gone.
Lonely.
Yes. Yes, extremely lonely.
Yeah.
As you're first, you're going through postpartum, so that's, first thing. And I didn't understand any of that.
Right.
And 3 days after you after I gave birth, I was at the attorney's office signing all of the paperwork to place my child with this family. First of all, nobody should be making a decision 3 days after giving birth.
Right.
True.
That's first and foremost.
Right.
Second, I would kinda don't remember this part, even though I'm told one thing, but I really don't remember it. I was told I had my own attorney because I was supposed to. I
Okay.
don't remember any other attorney being there except for the attorney for the family.
Mm.
Now, could there have been somebody else there? Yeah, I guess, or maybe it was somebody else in the firm, but I don't remember. There was another woman, and I know that she was an attorney, but I don't remember her being there that day. So,
When you're so emotional and have so many feelings and thoughts and everything else going through your mind,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
But the
yeah.
part that I like though is that, even though you were giving your daughter up for adoption, that they allowed you to hold her. You had that brief moment with her before you, as they say, you
Well,
gave
that
her.
was a fight.
I was gonna say, I'm assuming it probably was from reading the book and everything that you went through. I was gonna say, how hard did you have to fight for that? Because if I remember correctly in the book, you talked about, I think, if I'm right, they wanted you to sign the papers that day that you gave birth to her, and you were like, "Absolutely not. I am not doing it now. I know I have 3 days to wait." Am I correct? Yeah, yep. I had a feeling that that was a fight. When I read that, I was like, "I bet you she fought tooth and nail to hold that baby."
Yeah, stay tuned
Wow.
because more goes into that aspect of the story. Yeah, that was definitely a fight. But then, I fought really hard for that, but then they wanted to put me on the floor with all the babies,
Yes, yes, I remember that, yes, in the book, yes.
and I had to fight to not be on that floor.
I mean, I'm sure these hospitals have gone through this before. I mean, this isn't
I mean,
something
even
new.
back then, it may not have been, you know, prevalent, but, it happened, and
Yeah.
you can't tell me I'm the first one because I know better.
Right.
Yeah, definitely would think they would have a special area in the most nicest way,
Sure.
moms away
Just
from
put me on a different floor.
hearing the
Like,
babies cry, because that can be very like,
yes,
"Oh, no, now I'm not giving my baby away," or it could throw them into postpartum depression, which makes it even worse.
right, and then so for me, it was all of that, and then I ended up after like, believe it was the next day after I signed my paperwork, I ended up back in the hospital for a week because I had
Yes.
an infection.
Gosh.
I was there by myself. Nobody talked to me. I had one nurse who I do remember, and she also told me she had placed a child for adoption many years before, and she was only there for, I don't know, maybe a night. And nobody came, nobody checked on me. I called my mom. My mom just knew I was sick. She didn't know why or, you know,
Mhm.
any of that. But I was, and that just
Yeah.
added to the depression, that added to the postpartum, that added to everything. And really, I did not want I really wanted to end my life at that point. I didn't even care because what did I have? I had nothing.
Mhm.
I was a screw up. I made the wrong decisions. I don't wasn't taking responsibility, all the things that you're being told. And even if you're not being told, you're hearing it
Yeah.
in your head.
Of course.
You're
You're
hearing it in
convincing
in
yourself.
your own voice. So, yeah, that was, I mean, I was there. I think I was in for about a week and I didn't know what to do. Like, I just didn't know what to do. And my boss just knew that I was out, I was sick, and they didn't even know. I mean, I hid my pregnancy till the very, very end. I wore A-line dresses and things, and so, everybody just thought I was fat.
So, how old were you when you had your daughter?
Want me to math? 25?
Oh, so you were still very young. So, yeah, I
23. What 20 I always get this wrong. 23 or 24.
23, 24. Yeah, but I mean, still, that's very young, very, very
Yes.
young, very young,
Yes.
especially to do that all on your own and not have the support, not even from like the quote unquote, law firm that should have been there to make sure that you were okay.
Yep.
You had nothing. That's so
Yeah,
sad.
I had nothing. I had nobody. I heard from nobody. And So I'll fast forward a little bit because I know that we are on a bit of a time. um, I'll fast forward a bit to many years later when I got a snail mail card from my daughter
Mhm,
that started off with, "I met you on March blah, 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 blah." And
mhm.
I dropped the card and I started to shake and I started to cry, but not because I was angry, just I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because here's the other thing is that this was supposed to be an open adoption. And I was told that the adopted family had changed their mind and they wanted it closed.
Okay.
They were told that I didn't want any contact with them past the first 3 months.
So this was the lawyer that you picked out of the yellow page.
But then they wanted her to pay $500 to look in her file to see if the letter that she had written when her daughter was born to give to the birth parents, so $100, and she's like, "I don't got $500."
Nope. I found out that she did get the letter, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but so it was I mean, it became a closed adoption. I also didn't know until many years later that Florida didn't have open adoption. So when my daughter reached out to me and said, "I wanted to reach out before this, but I would get in trouble." And I couldn't understand what she was saying. I'm like, "I don't understand why you'd get in trouble."
So legally,
Wasn't until we all met for the first time and we sat down and they brought me her baby book and we're going through and I'm looking and I mean, the heartstrings for me are just, I'm like, did I really make the right decision? I missed all these years,
yeah.
all of this. And the mom says to me, "You should have these photos." I said, "What photos?" She said, "We sent photos to the attorney to get to you." I said, "I never got any photos."
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
And we started piecing together what happened because that's when they said to me, "Well, we were told that you didn't want any contact with us after the first 3 months." I said, "Well, funny because I was told that you all had changed your mind and you wanted a closed adoption."
Wow.
So, do you think that the lawyers said this because they realized that they screwed up, they weren't supposed to say it was an open adoption? I mean, I know we have to be careful. I know we have to be careful. I'm just or like
I
they
do.
were they covering themselves or are they just being
Personally, I
malicious?
think personally, I think this was their way of appeasing me
Oh, okay.
to get the end result that they wanted.
'Cause
Wow.
they were all about the money.
Was April when she sent you that letter?
18.
She was 18. So that she had to wait until she was
Yeah, she was in college, yeah.
wow.
Wow.
And when I got her email or when I got her mail, I actually emailed her. I said, "I'm not letting this child wait for a letter through the snail mail." She had left me her email address and I proceeded to email her and I'm not gonna tell her story because that's not my story to
No,
tell.
exactly.
But she all she's told me was that she left the class she was in and called her mom. So, and then we just kind of went from there. But again, that's her story to tell, not
No,
mine. So,
Of
absolutely,
course.
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Wow.
Wow.
That's a wow. Well, I am so glad that she wrote that letter. I mean, that she's like, she was willing to take that risk. Am I going to be in
Yeah.
trouble? Am I going to get denied? Because I've seen so many of those stories on shows on TV where they're like,
Yes.
where they have those that lady and man where they help you try to find
Yep.
your family, and some
Yes.
of them are they're
Yes.
like very receptive, and some are like, yeah, no,
I
we
don't
want
wanna
nothing to do with you, and that is so heartbreaking, and you're just like, but and you're
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
And I feel that every adoptee has the right to know their story,
Mhm.
has the right to meet if they choose, and has the right to not meet if they choose.
Right.
I know people who adopted and their children don't wanna meet, don't wanna know, and that's
That's
their option
yeah.
as well.
Right.
I mean, that's a trauma response, but that's up to them to decide, not
Right.
anybody else.
And who knows, maybe down the road, they might change their mind and they might go,
And yeah,
"Okay." Yeah, they might go, "Okay, I have kids now, I want to know."
right.
And they might and
Even for health reasons, that was my big thing was that I just wanted I wanted
Exactly.
them to know health-wise,
absolutely.
you know?
Yeah,
So, but yeah, so
a lot.
there's so much more.
There is. Okay, so I have a question, and if we don't wanna talk about it, it's completely fine, but it was in your book. So
Okay.
when you had your 2nd daughter, and you and her father had decided you were going to, um what it not baptize, is it a naming ceremony, a
Naming.
Jewish naming thank you. And he was like, "No, we want baptize and you were this," and you took her, you called your mom, and that's when obviously they found out that you had your 2nd child and you had the naming ceremony. Did he ever find out that you did this, or was it like,
I'm not sure
you're not
as far
sure?
as I
Okay.
know. I mean, we did take her after the fact. She was I don't know if it was technically baptized because that wasn't I don't know, I didn't really understand. But so, I mean, but to me, I mean, a blessing is a blessing, and I'll take it in any way, shape, or form that I can get, doesn't matter. I don't really remember. I don't think he ever knew.
Okay.
I think I pretty much kept that really quiet because I also knew it was gonna be, I mean, he was not the nicest person,
That's why
and
I
he
was trying to
was
be very careful how I worded this. I was like, because 'cause I've read the book and I don't wanna give it away to anybody that's gonna
that's
read
okay.
it, and I
And
was like,
I mean, the easiest way is, abuse is abuse, and I talk about it, and it is in there, and I will, in the book, I changed a lot of names. There are only
"You did."
very few
Yes.
that are the same, but most of the names have been changed. And when you open the first page of the book, it states these are
Mhm.
pseudonyms.
Yep. Yes, yes.
So unless you know my story
Yeah.
or my children,
Right.
and don't tell anybody else. I don't tell anybody else's story, but at the same time, the story needed to be told because one of the things for me is that in the Jewish religion,
Mhm.
people like me, quote unquote, don't exist.
Okay.
And it's not just Jewish religion. I mean, I know Catholic and Christian, that if you're pregnant out of wedlock and blah blah blah, all the religious
Sure.
aspect of things. But then I go on to have conversations with, and I'm going to be very specific here,
Okay.
um, with Hasidic families and ultra Orthodox families that have adopted, and somehow I end up I'm still I love babies. I mean, I do. And I will, say, "Oh, he or she's adorable." And somehow the conversation will get to, "Well, we adopted her. We had fertility issues or whatever, and we adopted her." And I said, "Oh, that's wonderful. Mazel tov. Do you speak with the birth parents?" They don't know me. They don't know me.
Yeah.
And typically the answer that I get, unfortunately, is, "I wish they didn't exist." And
Oh my god.
I go one of 2 ways. I
Mm.
either introduce myself and say, "Hi, I'm Lori Prashker Thomas. I am a Jewish birth parent, and nice to meet you," or I just walk away. Kinda depends on my mood and, how into this I really wanna get.
Yeah, I think I would have to, like,
I don't always, and I probably should learn that lesson sometime.
well, no, because I mean, if they think about it though, right? Without the birth parents, we're gonna say both parents because it takes 2 to make a baby. Without the
It
birth
does.
parents, their child that they have now has been born in their heart would not exist.
Correct.
So, I mean, you have to say, "We're grateful for the birth parent." However, whether they put the child up willingly up for adoption or they lost their rights, you still have to say, "Thank you," because you have been blessed to raise this child who, no matter how you look at it, it's a blessing. I see all children are a blessing no matter what, because some people in this world, as you know, can't get pregnant and some can, and so, no matter how it is, babies are a blessing no matter how they're brought into this world, and especially if you adopt a baby. You've been given, in my opinion, one of the most selfless gifts in the entire world.
So, I'm not gonna agree
Okay,
with that aspect of
okay.
things,
No,
but that's a whole other show.
no, that's okay.
But for me, adoption, yes, adoption is an option from time to time. I am all about, like, trying to have the children stay within a family, whoever that may
Yeah.
be, before and birth parents shouldn't be the, uh, the option, well, if we are, for whatever reason, can't have a child, then yes, we can adopt, and we're gonna depend on that, and that shouldn't,
Oh, yeah, no, I
you
understand that
know
one. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
No,
I mean,
I
and I have
understand.
I have ado like, my in my own family, we have adopted nieces, nephews, children, and nibblings, and I mean, they're my family.
Yeah. You know, I understand. Oh, I no, I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
So,
I do. Yeah.
but that's my only that is my only and I'm gonna get off that topic.
You're fine. You're no, you're good. You're good. No, I do no, I do understand what you're saying. I do think that if the child can stay within family, I think
But
that's
somebody
amazing.
within the family, even if it's, you know, removed or whatever, however that works,
Yeah, I
you
think
know?
no,
You know?
I have an aunt that took her a relative's child in, and she's raised the little girl as her own. So,
Yes, and that's, to me, that's the way that, it should have been. I mean, somebody within my own family said to me, "Well, why didn't you allow me to raise your child?" And I said, "Well, first of all, we didn't have that relationship. We were not on the best of terms, and I don't know if I actually could have mentally dealt with that."
right.
You
Now,
know? So
It's a lot.
just to swing back for 1 second.
yeah, sure.
So you said, like if someone does speak to you about adoption, and you either want to answer them or you don't want to answer them. I mean, I commend you for answering them because I feel that they might have a reason for how they feel, but maybe they need to see that other side of the story to, understand what's going on as opposed to just saying, you know what, I can't be about, I don't want them in my life or whatever.
Yeah,
So I
I
think that you being able to educate people, I think that's great.
Yeah.
and that's one of the major reasons why I wrote the book, because I've been told for years that people like me don't exist within the Jewish community. And I sit there and go,
Huh?
You probably do.
no, no, they do. There's an organization out there in Schiffer's Arms that is how my story I became related with them. And they were really the ones that also kind of pushed me to tell my story.
Yes.
And I kept it quiet for a really long time, and, a lot of people didn't know, everything that I had gone through and still don't, but it's a story that is relatable. Fortunately or unfortunately, it is relatable to a lot of people,
It is.
Sure.
and that's and within the Jewish realm of things, and everybody will say some people will say to me, "Well, why do you pigeonhole yourself?" I said, "I don't pigeonhole myself, but I am a Jewish birth mother."
Yeah, you are. You rightfully are.
I am a Jewish I am a Jewish birth mother, and my story, our stories are not told. And I was at my temple doing a sermon, for lack of a better word, and there was a 96-year-old woman. She has since passed, but I've spoken at temple twice. And the first time I saw her out of the corner of my eye crying. And I was like, that's interesting. Okay. And we didn't speak, like, she told me I did a great job and, we left it at that, but this last time I spoke, she came to me and she says, "I need to tell you something." She goes, "We are hidden. We are sent away." I said, "Yes." I said, "We are sent away. We run away because of the way that we were raised within our community and all of this." And she goes, "Or," and this is where it kinda got to me, was, "or you get put into an attic."
Mm,
Hmm.
And to me, that spoke volumes because either it happened to her or it happened to someone that she knew or somebody in her
Yeah.
family. Because to say specifically that,
yeah,
to me,
it hits right here.
it hit hard.
Yep.
It hit hard, and literally, we just sat there, we talked, gave her a hug, and out the door she went. But she always very moved by what I would speak about. It really I would have loved to have sat down and spoken with her, but
Yeah,
I also knew I didn't wanna push.
right.
Yeah.
I try to be respectful too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your words spoke to her in a way that more than she could
Yeah.
say to you.
Right.
Yes,
And by
100%.
telling your story, as you said, you guys are pushed away, or someone said to you, you were the only one. But obviously, we know that's probably not true. But you telling your story down the road from now, there could be other ladies who are
Exactly.
going to be in your same situation who
Exactly.
might be Jewish or we're just gonna
Or
throw out
not.
all we're gonna throw them all
Yeah,
out. Maybe they're Catholic, maybe they're Christian, maybe this, maybe they're whatever they are. And no matter what their heritage is or their religion is, whatever it is, they can relate to you because you have like, "I was a Jewish birth mother." Well, they can come out and go, "I was a Catholic birth mother," or "I
right.
was a Muslim birth mother." It doesn't
Yep,
matter. You all have one thing in common, and that is you all are birth mothers, and you shouldn't be forced to be hidden or to be put away.
100%,
You
and
shouldn't be
that's how
because
I
it's
felt
your
for a very
story
long
and it's
time.
healing for you to tell your
Yeah,
story. You're able to heal, and by able to heal, you're able to help other people.
yes, 100%. It was very cathartic for me. Very cathartic, hard, but cathartic.
Yes.
Yeah, I always go back to something my mom said to me years ago about something else, that if you can help one person, then you've done your job.
Yep.
We say that all
Yeah.
the time,
Yeah,
literally like our motto.
Yeah.
yes,
I actually highlighted that in your book because I was like, if she doesn't say it, I'm gonna say it because, like I told you, I have this thing is like filled with like things. I was like, if she doesn't say it, I'm gonna ask.
yeah. I am a firm believer in that, and if I can help someone, I will help someone.
Yeah,
Oh, and as not only women, but as human beings, we should be helping one another.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
There isn't Unfortunately, there isn't enough of it.
No.
I think there's certain things that happen in your life that the switch turns and you're like, okay, wait a minute, I got to take a step back, whatever, regardless of what it is. And I don't think that switch turns for everybody,
I agree.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree
Unfortunately,
with
we've
that.
all
Yeah.
had something that has happened that, like, okay, I need to stop. I need to see what's happening in front of me and I need to think. And I don't think everybody has had that moment in their life, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, I do not disagree with that statement at all.
It's wow. It's so I have a question for you, and if you don't want to
Okay,
answer it, it's fine. But in the book, you talked about we're going back to when you were in elementary school when you were bullied, and
okay.
you went to that. You called the girl. You're supposed to do your project together. You called the mom, and she had made her statement that I don't know her or whatever it is. We're not friends or something of that nature.
Come in and
And I know that you obviously you moved away, you went to Florida, and you came back home. Have you ever seen any of those girls who are now women now since then? And if you have they said anything to you? Like, have they apologized or are they just kind of like, you know, you don't have to answer it. I'm just curious.
I told you there's no question that is off limits.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so it wasn't only the girls. It was
I know there was a teacher and there was a few
Well, there
other
was a teacher, there was some there so growing up where I did in Northeastern Pennsylvania, my elementary school class was in a class of 8,
okay,
okay? So, it
small.
was everybody against me, just the way it was. So, interesting question because the girls have not. I mean, I ran into one, and I don't I refuse to let her push my buttons anymore.
Very good.
They tried,
sure.
but I said, "No, we are not in high school. We are not in elementary school. We are not in high school.
Yeah. Keep
I
moving.
take control over my own self."
Right.
There was one person, met me in DC area when I was traveling there a lot,
Mhm.
and we had dinner, and he did apologize.
Oh, okay.
He did apologize to me for the way that I was treated. And I took it and I accepted it and I said, "Okay." And then something else came about and we were right back to where we were. I've had a couple of people from high school and from elementary school who weren't necessarily mentioned in the book, but knew that they were a part of the group in the book when they read it.
Right, right.
Mhm.
I've gotten a couple of apologies, and they are heartfelt, and I know that.
Right.
And that's the way that I look at it. But for the most part, no.
No.
Wow.
Most part, no.
Wow. You wait.
I had one person, who came to where I work, sat with me, we had a discussion, and we left it, and, I left it for what it was,
Right.
but I found out later on that a couple of people had other conversations, and their first question when they realized that I had written a book, and it happened more than once, "Are we in it?" Because they knew what they had done.
You know
Sure.
what? Glad that they thought that way. I'm sorry, but I am actually glad that they thought that way because they know what they did was wrong, and I hope it eats at them. I hope that they go grab your book, and I hope that they read it, everything of it, and go, "Crap, we were worse than what we thought
Mhm.
through," you know? I do. I'm sorry to say it, but I hope that
Well, and my other thought on that is I really just hope that they don't treat their children the way
exactly.
that I was treated.
Yes,
Yes,
I
that's
was
that aha turn the switch moment.
I was watching something one time and a gentleman or was it a lady? It doesn't really matter who it was. Anyways, they were the bully. They were the bully growing up in elementary school and they had children of their own now and their children were being bullied. And they had realized they had said to themselves, our kids being bullied because of what we did. Is this like, like, oh, you did this, well now we're gonna get back to you. Like they were like, is this how this works? Even though their child didn't know that they were that. And they said they actually had to go onto Facebook to find the person that they had bullied and apologize to them for everything they did because they said it wasn't until their own child had been ruthlessly bullied that they realized that they were terrible people and what they had did. And they said they couldn't sleep at night until they had apologized to that person and that person emailed them back and said, "We accept your apology." Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to be friends with you, but I'll accept your
Yeah,
apology.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, wow.
yeah.
Well, oh my god. Your book was amazing, and I just wanna say, anybody out there that wants to know more about her story, this is the book. We will definitely be putting a link in the bio, and she hasn't even touched on this much of it in there. She does have the 2nd book coming out, which I'm very, very excited about. Thank you for sharing your story. It's amazing. We have another podcast coming tomorrow, and she will be talking about her postpartum depression journey and how she kept it hidden for many, many years because she was so embarrassed. So I'm actually really glad that you went first and that she will go second because it's going to roll right into because
It
you
is.
talk about being postpartum and that how you could have went down that rabbit hole of postpartum depression. I mean, you may have, and and it's just oh my gosh, I love your story, and I think
Thank you.
everybody should definitely read it, and even though it says you're a douche birth mom, anybody can relate to anybody can, I mean, I commend you. You are amazing because a lot of it that I read, I just thought of my own daughter being bullied as a child, and I was like, "Wow." I'm like, "You know what? She's gonna be badass, like, when she gets older." And she's in college now, but yeah, she's learned to speak up for herself, and she's like, she got
Exactly.
high
Took
school
me
and
a
she's
long
like
time, and it does take a long time, but
yeah,
it's something that hopefully you learn at an
yeah,
earlier age
yeah,
to advocate for yourself, and it's hard. I mean, it's one of the hardest things that I still have to say, "Okay, speak up."
yeah,
That voice in your head says, "Speak up." But
I mean, I have 4 kids.
Is thinking, don't listen to her, don't listen to her, keep it in.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all about, like you said, embarrassment. If I say something, are they gonna retaliate, against me?
exactly.
I told my kids, I'm like, "You know what? Let them try and see what happens, because Mama Bear will come out, and they're gonna wish that they had not gone down that road." That's literally what I say, but I always tell my kids, "You try it first, and if I have to step in, then I as a mom will step in, but we're not telling our kids to do it because we don't wanna help them. We're trying to build them up." That's how
Right.
I look at it. You guys might think differently, but I'm like, I wanna build them up, and, I am the last resort that if it comes down
Exactly.
to it.
That's how I felt.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
how I felt.
Okay.
So, but I just want to say one thing before we go is
Yeah.
that I am very grateful for your podcast and for advocating for women and just people in general. And I am honored to be with the two of you today. And I really can't thank you enough for giving me this platform.
Oh, thank you so
no,
much.
thank you. I feel like we needed a part 2 because I need more of that book. Like, I need to hear more.
We could talk about it.
I mean, like, I have other questions, but I mean, we would be going for like another hour out of everything. I'm like, well, what happened to this person? What happened to him? What did he think when he left? Like, I want them to read, but like, trust me, when I said
Absolutely.
left, the person I'm talking about. But I'm like, I want to know what he thought. I'm like, didn't someone
Yep.
find you? No.
So that now people need to go and buy your book.
Exactly. Exactly. Stay tuned for more.
Wow.
Exactly,
Thank you.
exactly.
coming. We appreciate it. We're so excited. So, can you tell them when your second book will be coming out?
It will be out sometime in February of 2026.
Perfect.
Yes.
Wonderful. And where can they find it? Like a just Amazon or
Yeah, it'll be on Amazon. There will be a link on the website, loriprashkerthomas.com. Everything is usually up there, and there will be a formal announcement coming after the first of the year, but it is going to be released in February.
Perfect. So, we will go ahead and link her website in the bio, as well as a link to the book so that you guys can go in and read it. It is on Amazon, and I ordered it, and I had to take my time reading it because I could have read the whole thing in one sitting. So I took like a week, and then finally the other day I was like, "Nope," sat down on a Saturday, and I think I finished 10 chapters in one sitting.
So really, really, really quickly, I wrote the book because I do have a learning disability, and I wanted to make sure that it was easily digestible for everybody so that people can sit down and read it and not be stressed out about reading.
Oh, no,
no,
it is beautifully written, and you literally answer, like, I don't think I mean, there's only a couple things that I asked because I truly wanted to know, but you literally ask everything, and you were so amazing in your story, and I think that everybody will be able to relate to your story in one way or another. I mean, you talked about how you got sick in 2020, and for the ones who wanna know, it was not COVID.
No,
You'll
nope.
find out. She might have wished it was COVID. She might have wished it was COVID at this point, but it was not. And even with that, your husband is amazing. I just wanna say his name is Michael in the book. I don't know if that's his name
Is
in real life,
that
but his
it's
name is
Michael.
Michael, and he was amazing, and the nurses were amazing to keep him updated multiple times a day when he called because obviously during COVID, we know he couldn't be in the hospital with you. And they were so nurses were amazing. They had just
They
to sit
were
there and give him the didn't make
3
him
times
feel
a
like
day.
he was, bothering them, and it's amazing.
3 times a day, and Doctor Abdul Latif also would call Michael 3 times a day just to let him know what was going on, and I'm so grateful to be alive because I shouldn't be. So, I'm very grateful, and that's why, again, platforms like yours are so important because I am able to tell many different stories and help many different people as do the 2 of you.
Yes.